Recording. This camera stopped beeping, so I can't really tell that it's recording already. Anyway, so hello, peace be upon you. Welcome to another episode of the Happiness Revolution, where I talk about age-old wisdom that will change your life and change the world. Right, so today's little chat is about saving the environment. So a lot of my initial talks, which I'm kind of still in the initial stages of explaining very basic or broad things, I should say. And so how can we change the environment? And one thing that the wisdom that we've been taught throughout the ages gives us or tells us is that we need to develop a higher form of consciousness. How is that important in saving the environment? Well, we clearly are destroying the world we live in, so why would we continue? We can't blame big corporations all the time, because they couldn't do their dastardly deeds, as it were, without our help. So the greater population has to decide to change. So why is it they continue? Why do we continue to do bad things for the environment? Well, there are two sides to the story. Yes, we can blame corporations to a certain extent, because they create an environment where the automatic thing to do is to do things that are not so good for you. For example, they make people really poor, so they have to work really hard. Everybody's working really hard, including mums having to go out. And so the easiest thing is to do is to go and buy junk food, etc. And also people are stopped from being properly educated and being aware of what's happening to them. So they're eating bad food that isn't so good for you. But you have to take responsibility for yourself. The facts are out there that we shouldn't eat certain types of food. Food is being industrialized and stuff like that. So we've got to take some responsibility and change. We've got to develop a higher sense of consciousness that we are not here as individuals, but we are on a tiny planet as the large human family and a family of animals. We are part of the ecosystem, and we have to start working together. We have got to start treating each other like brothers and sisters. And then we will be able to unite. As I always say, we've got to unite, we've got to get together. We don't have to agree on everything. We don't have to be of one religion. All religions teach us good behaviours, even though the media would like to say or give the impression that religions make us fight each other. In many countries, just so you're aware, there are people, especially in the Middle East, who, an area where the media likes to demonize. If you look at the Middle East, there are lots of Christians and Muslims living happily together, because actually they understand their shared origins and do very similar things, and they're very happy together. But the media doesn't show that. The media likes to demonize people. So I'm kind of sidetracking already. The point is that religion, you don't have to be any particular religion, but religion itself doesn't. I'm trying to get back to where I went. So I went down a certain alley and trying to get back and explain why I was talking about that stuff. So religion doesn't cause these divisions. So who is it? It's our individualistic attitudes, our narrow-mindedness towards other people, that allows us to be manipulated by corporations, big companies, whatever you want to call them, governments, etc. So So that is part of the issue. But that's just part of, that's not really, it's kind of making us more aware of the solution, but it's not giving a solution. So, and I always like to say these videos are about changing yourself first and then building on that to create a better society. So let's change ourselves. One of the things we need to realize is that we should try to avoid being full all the time. Try to eat less. Try to eat less meat. And just try to eat and respect your own body. So that's one level of changing the world, because if everybody did that, if everybody started consuming less, not just because you're poor, but just because you don't actually need to eat so much food, you stop damaging your own health. And of course, I like to say again, these are this is wisdom taught in many religions, that if you either overeat, eat too much, you cause disease within yourself. And so don't make yourself unwell by doing that. So that's one idea. So by helping your own health, you'll help the health of the wider world. We are over consuming and destroying the world. Let me just give some important facts. I'd say about 33% of the world, as far as, yes, 33% of the world is used to for production of food, and a large amount of that is misusing animals as if they were machines, and producing that we're destroying large amounts of forests so that animals can be there, and we're not talking about small, large amounts, so animals can feed in that space. So that land is completely destroyed, it's desolate. Then this kind of machinery of the new age farm is put there, where animals are fed stuff they're not supposed to eat, because if we, for example, if cattle are made to eat grass, it will give them space to move around, and they can be controlled and put in this mechanized form of farming where they're just fed, kept in one place. They eat things they're not supposed to eat, usually corn, because that's part of the corn, the overproduction of corn, and the way corn is used in food production helps this machinery, let's just say very quickly. So anyway, so they eat corn instead of grass, and that's not very good for them, because that's not what these cattle were designed to eat. So then they're fed lots of antibiotics. Most antibiotics is not fed to human beings, but to animals, just to keep them alive. So that's not going to be very good for you, is it? No wonder we're getting cancer and all these other things. We're overeating meat, and we're eating very bad meat. So, and of course, religion is always taught treat animals really well. And if you're not aware that religion is taught these things, it's one of the things, is propaganda, that religion is just there to control us and not to help us. There are lots of sayings, or it's a lot easier to get information from the most recent spiritual leaders. There's Buddha, there's Krishna, and so many others. But because their ideas, their teachings, are ancient, it's very easy for those teachings to disappear or be misconstrued or misunderstood. And also those teachings were actually supposed to be tribal teachings, not for the whole world. So there aren't so many details. Those tribal spiritual teachings were of limited use. But Islam, which is the latest of these spiritual teachings, goes into a lot more detail. So if you look at sayings of Prophet Muhammad, you'll see that what I'm saying is true, that it teaches you to eat less, and that if you eat too much it will cause disease within yourself. All these things I'm saying are spiritual teachings, and although they're spiritual, they help your spirit, they also help your physical body, because part of these spiritual teachings say that what we do to our spirit affects our physical body, and vice versa. So, for example, if you eat too much, it makes you depressed. That's just another thing. So, what I'm trying to keep it roughly on this idea of saving the environment. There are different elements. We need to be united, and that happens when we treat each other as brothers and sisters. I've talked about that many times in my videos, but it's good to reiterate and come to the same topic at different angles. But also, we can improve our health individually, and that we know our actions affect other people's actions. No man is an island, as it were. A person does not only affect themselves but other people. It's a natural thing. So you can be a bad person and affect people badly, or you can be a better person, you can affect people in a better way. Another really important thing to change the environment is to have hope that we can change the environment. And how can you do that? Well, we have to remember that people's essential nature is to be good. And you can look at that, you can look at the world, and you can see that mostly, even though there's lots of bad things happening in the world, overall, good things tend to happen more than bad things. You can try to measure that in your own way. And you can see, but you can measure it in a different way. You can see that most people by nature would like to be seen as good people. So that means if they like to be seen as good people, that tells you something about their essential nature. Another way of looking at things is that people don't lie unnecessarily. So, because a lot of spiritual things are things to be pondered on, things to reflect on is the word. Reflect suggests that your heart is a reflection of nature. I'm going maybe too deep, I don't know. So you can delve into your heart, your feelings, and you'll come to the truth. Reflect the truth of the truth, the nature of truth, blah blah blah, whatever. So there are many things we need to do. But although our essential nature is to be good, so that tells us that there is hope, we are still far away from listening to that truth. And a way to test that is to test our own honesty. And you should be always testing yourself, because that's part of humility and moving towards truth and a better world. And a quick test for that would be to ask yourself, if somebody asked you to become a Christian and you're not a Christian, how would you feel inside? Would you say, oh, definitely not, why are you telling me to do that? As long as you're not being forced, you're just being asked. You should always be open-minded towards the truth, because if you're not open-minded to... And I'm not a Christian, by the way, I'm a Muslim. I purposely gave an example of a different religion. So if somebody asked me to do that, I'd say, okay, where's the proof? I wouldn't be angry. I would always even test the feelings within myself, and not to be angry. I should just say, okay, that person is not trying to force me to be X, Y, Z, whatever. He's not trying to force me to be a Christian or a Buddhist, whatever. So why not be open-minded to the idea that that might be the truth? Although I have tons of evidence to believe what I believe, very practical belief, actual belief or experiences of God, and so many other things, and scientific evidence that reaffirms that I should accept Islam, but I will still be open to any belief. That's a very important attitude to have, so that we can move towards truth wherever it may be. And I think I might as well end there. Thank you for watching.